Skating action featuring the Bombers and Pioneers, and it's coming your way from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. We're in the first period of play with the score: the Bombers 2 and the Pioneers 5, and we've got a jam underway on the bank track. There's Debbie Cho moving for the Bombers. Boy, wild action back here. Tucker, Candy Jones, Francine Cochou. There's Debbie Cho moving in. There's Tucker with a block. Cochou getting it now. Debbie Cho goes by here also. Let's see about points. Tucker's not satisfied. Here comes Johnny Weston. Tucker gets out of there. This is tackle Weston to keep her out of that action. The penalty on Tucker, but a point to keep the Bombers on the play. So the score here in the first period of play is the Pioneers 5. And on the scoreboard, the Bombers 2. This is Walt Harris and Jerry Seltzer in San Francisco calling the action in this game. The way it's starting out, we're going to have a Donnybrook before it's over. The Pioneers and the Bombers, two of the great teams in the International Roller Derby League. Now it's up to the scoreboard, and it goes to 3 points for the Bombers. A little late chalking it up that time. 5-3 is the score. Jerry, these girls are really starting out like there's going to be no tomorrow.
Again, it's somewhat weak in Bomber lineup with Carol Peanuts Meyer out of this game. Rita Williams out of action in this game for the Pioneers. Both will be joining their teams. Pioneers in their familiar red, white, and blue. The Bombers in their traditional orange and brown. And that's Debbie Cho up in front of the pack.
And here we go. Francine Cochou is whipping out Joni Weston. Cochou, the jammer, started the play, whipped out Joni Weston. Amelia Ortiz, the rookie, out to challenge Joni Weston. That won't bother the Golden Girl. Secondary jammers in front of the pack, but they're making no headway. Joni Weston moving around the track. Ortiz trying to catch up. Joni Weston, smooth stride, eating up the bank track. Moving on the pack. Back to the block for the Bombers. Debbie Cho, 32. Weston take care of Ortiz. Now she moves in Debbie Cho. Joni Weston, the team leads by 2. She'd like to make it more. She's got Candy Cochou back there to talk to her to try and set up a play. The whip is to Cochou. She takes down the blocker, and the point scored by Weston. A good play. Now, 1 point, I believe. Oh, 3, says a man. One man said 3. The other man looked like he was calling off the jam before Joni Weston picked up those next 2 points. But evidently, that was not the case. It's a total of 3 for the Pioneers, and they now lead 8-3 over the Bombers. And Francine Cochou teaming up with Joni Weston on that play.
Well, a lot of fans want to know how they can get their name on the mailing list and receive advance information about games in their area, and here's how. Put your name on a postcard, put the zip code number of your address, also the station on which you watch this program, and send it to mailing list, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604.
Here we go with another jam getting underway. Candy Jones, 57, is out for the Pioneers, also out. Johnson. Here's Debbie Cho in pursuit of Linda Johnson. Caught the pack already. Candy Jones hit by Tucker. Debbie Cho battling now with Candy Jones. Jones gets to the inside with the block of Debbie Cho. And there's another block. Candy Jones is down. Debbie Cho looking for skating. Tries to go through the middle. Cut off there by Joni Weston and Francine Cochou. Here comes Candy Jones again. Debbie Cho ducks underneath. Scored 2. She's trying for 3. She's around for 3, and she cuts it off. She's headlocked by Weston. Weston bulldogs into the track, and official Dave Canella catches it, and a penalty on Joni Weston. That first 2 points there by Debbie Cho, it looked like Weston and Cochou both looked back to check Candy Jones to see where she was. During that time, Debbie Cho was able to slip between the 2 of them and scored 2 points for a total of 3, picking up 1 more later. The score on the scoreboard now, the Pioneers 8 and the Bombers 6, and Joni Weston in the penalty box for 1 minute. Debbie Cho getting the attention of the trainer Jerry Menez out there on the track.
Some very big news for Pioneer fans. The biggest one, and you're going to have him on, Walt, at the end of this half, is Buddy Atkinson Sr. has accepted the challenge. He wants to make the Pioneer team world champions, as he has done in the past. No one can dispute what he did with really an under-talented Chief team from New York. And, he's been named head coach of the Pioneers. He's going to take over in their next series. I'm sure he's going to tell all that to you right at the end of this half.
Well, Buddy is a master organizer. There's no question about that. If there's anything to be gotten out of a skater, he'll get it out, and a little bit more to go along with it. He's He's produced champions for years. He'll continue to do so. So out on the jam, Dolores Tucker challenging Evelyn Pace. Not for long. As Pace hits the deck, hits it hard. And Dolores Tucker moves away. The only jammer now is a Bomber Skeeter. They trail by 2. We have 1:07 to go here in the first period of play. This could be the last jam in this period. Candy Jones, Koshu teaming up. Tucker is down. She gets up. She's moving again. Candy Jones and Koshu set themselves. Joni Weston coming over to the edge of the track. Joni Weston comes out of the penalty box on the track, goes right back through the pack and puts a knee into Tucker. He's going backwards, which is still legal. No penalty call. Tucker is down. The trainer's with her. She's not going to be able to score anymore. She is down and down hard. Weston went right back to that pack and leveled her with a knee block. 30 seconds left in this period. Gal moving in the jams. Koshu, but time runs out on her. She says she got 1. She did. No, she did get 1. The girl that replaced the injured Tucker did not get on the track fast enough, and she was past the point. She was slid alongside Tucker, but not get out there. So the score goes to 9-6, and the Pioneers on top. Tucker is still in bad shape, and the trainer's working on her on the infield. 3 seconds left in this period. And that is the end of the first period of play, with the score the Pioneers 9 and the Bombers 6. Moving now into the second period of play, this game between the Pioneers and the Bombers, coming your way from Kezar Pavilion in San Francisco. This is Walt Harris, Gary Seltzer, calling the action. First jam getting underway in the second period. All 4 men are out. We have Nick Scopus out there, number 54, and he's waiting for Larry Smith to move on. He'll take care of Tony Roman and Bob Dansell of the Bombers, and that's exactly what Nick Scopus is doing. And Larry Smith is building up a pretty good lead. They get by Scopus now, but Larry Smith has the big lead that Nick Scopus enabled him to get. The moving wall, Pete Boyd back to the block, number 36 for the Bombers. There's Larry Smith moving into scoring position. Pete Boyd to the block, and Smith is down, and Smith goes to the block. All he did was eliminate Scopus, and it's the Bombers in charge now. Tony Roman and Bob Dansell. Pete Boyd working on Ronnie Robinson. Robinson gets away from him. Robinson back to the block. Great Ronnie Robinson, the Pioneers. Scopus way back now. Dansell and Roman crisscrossing behind Ronnie Robinson, trying to throw him off stride. There they go. A point apiece. Dansell cuts it off. Down low, 2 small men using their smaller size to an advantage on Ronnie Robinson. And the score now, the Pioneers 9 and the Bombers 8.
No doubt, Walt. Look out. Action on the track there is a little blocking up the jam. The Pioneers have to be stronger than in the last game with the Bombers. Ronnie Robinson suffered a pulled thigh muscle, was kind of about half speed for the last game, and Bob Hine injured and out. Certainly they have to have one of the strongest teams in the league, and just putting it all together has been their problem. I'm sure Buddy Atkinson's going to help them with that.
So here we go again. Scopus will go to the infield for a brief rest. Bob Hine will jam, along with John Rice, I believe. It is, and Rice is out of there in a hurry. This man can really move. And chasing him, though, number 32, moving for the Bombers, Chris Rowe. Cuts in front. Rice lets him go by and hammers him ahead with an elbow block. They're the only jammers out on the play. Rugged John Rice of the Pioneers. Chris Rowe trying to find skating room. Chris Rowe play looks like Eddie Krebs out there. And John Rice puts him down. And away goes Mr. Rice. Krebs gets out. Rowe gets up again, and he's decked by Bob Hine. Moving in a pack all by himself now is John Rice, 59, moving here for the Pioneers. Ronnie Robinson back there blocking through the pack. He's got Chris Rowe back there. And he's taken care of by John Rice. One more block. Rice should go by him for the point. Not yet. On the rail, Roscoe and Rowe both passed by Rice. Robinson blocking on Roscoe. Roscoe throws Rice over the rail. And there's Scopus clobbering Roscoe. Then he gets out of there. Hit and run tactics to Scopus. John Rice is on his skates, though, outside the track.
It's hard to figure what Roscoe was so upset about.
Because Robinson blocked him out, not Rice. But the score goes to 12-8. The Pioneers move out in front. They say about women, they remember from game to game, but maybe Roscoe remembers something that happened a couple of weeks ago.
I think so. We had a letter, Walt, several. One from a girl named Chris in Chicago. She wants to be a referee, and I've talked to Lou Donovan at the training center there. He said that Chris will come down. He'll start her working some minor league games. Also another letter from some of our new fans watching on Channel 44 in Chicago. Little Marcia out in Aurora, recovering from ailment. Get better and get out for that big Pioneer Thunderbird game. We'll be telling you about those shortly.
Bob Hine, the bald eagle on the gem for the Pioneers. Bob Denzel in pursuit for the Bombers. On the track, 4 Bombers. 5 Pioneers. Roscoe in the front of the box of Denzel with that block is out in front of Bob Hine now. He could cut off the gem and kill the time to get the Bombers' 5th man back out there. Scott Robinson, I don't know if that's a good thing to do or not. Here comes Bob Hine. Look out! Denzel slides up behind him, Robinson. Denzel's going to score, I think. Not quite. Roman whips him. Blocked out by Bill Hill, 51. Bill Hill doing the job. Bill Hill hits him again, and down he goes again. He cut it off before he went down that time. You must cut off the jam while you're on your skates, and Denzel was quick enough to do that job. He knew he was going down, so he stopped the hands on him to cut off the jam. Score remains 12-9. The Pioneers lead the Bombers, and 2 Bombers are down again. I don't know if Robinson knew or not. He was not skating away. Denzel and Roman. They're out there, carefully check with him.
You know, Walt, among schools that had roller derby games this past season have been Notre Dame and Dartmouth, many schools and many high schools. If you'd like to have a game scheduled in your area and you have a gym at a high school or college or an arena that seats more than 2,500 people, write to bookings, Post Office Box 1827, Oakland, California 94604, and we'll try and get a game scheduled in your area.
And we got action again. Alvin Mallory on his first jam in the game, number 31. We're in the second period of play. 6:41 to go. And Nick Scope was moving on Alvin Mallory. They're hitting in that pack too. Boy, they're hitting in this game. And Mallory's sitting there. Scope hits the deck. Scope waits for the pack. There's Alvin Mallory. Ronnie Robinson hits him with the block. Ronnie Robinson certainly an all-time great in this league. There goes Mallory. He's up and moving again. Charlie O'Connell in the game. Back there to block now. Robinson won't let Mallory get up there. Ryan's running short on him. Here comes Larry Smith in the jam. And Mallory puts him on the rail. Then Robinson hits Mallory. O'Connell tries Robinson. Can't get him out of there. Robinson hits Mallory in the rail. There's Larry Smith hit by Charlie O'Connell in the rail. Again, O'Connell hits Smith hard in the rail. Mallory's decked back there by Robinson. He blocked in there by O'Connell on Smith. And he goes in the elbow block and puts him down. That should just about kill the time here. There's Scopus. O'Connell makes a move and Scopus moves away. That is it. No score on that jam, but man, did we have action. 12-9 the score remains. 5:38 to go here in the second period of play.
You know, if it was back in Chicago, I guess you get the opposite results. Of course, we're here in San Francisco, and fans back in the Midwest would say O'Connell seems to be starting out by picking on Scopus, a man much smaller than he is. But, of course, here they love it. We have about 4,000 fans crammed into Kezar Pavilion today, Walt. As I'm sure you can see, they're hanging really all the way to the top of the balcony, all the way to the very top. They love the Bombers here, just as they love the Pioneers in the Midwest.
Of course, this is the small arena where we televise from San Francisco. Cow Palace, the Oakland Palace Arena, the major arenas in the Bay Area, of course. Action. And Bob Hine moves. Next, Tony Roman. The ball then goes loose and out to get even, or even the score for what happened to him last time out. And things kind of backfired on him. Bob Hine, one of the best out of the jam. There's Charlie O'Connell back there, Nick Scopus in front of O'Connell. Watch the action there. Hine hit by O'Connell. O'Connell hits him again, but Hine stays up. Scopus jumps, falls in front of O'Connell. O'Connell trips over the top. Hine gets the point. O'Connell is after Scopus. Scopus tries to get out there by Hine. Gets off the jam, settles for the 1 point. Scored on Charlie O'Connell. And there's Scopus. He enjoyed himself. O'Connell did. That makes the score now 13-9. The Pioneers lead the Bombers.
While we were talking about mail, and the mail we get the most is how do I get into this game? And there are 2 league training centers in the United States. The Pioneer Training Center operates every night at Saturdays and Sundays at the Chicago Amphitheater. Lou Donovan, trainer. For information, call this number at area code 312 in the Midwest. The Bomber Training Center, 631 Buena Vista Avenue in Alameda, operated by Buddy Atkinson Sr. Classes nightly, Saturday and Sunday. For information, call area code 415 in this number. Join a league training center and you can get into the minor leagues and eventually into the big leagues.
O'Connell clears the way to whip on Chris Rowe, number 32 on the jam. And in pursuit now is Mr. Larry Smith. Reaching with the jammer out of the play. Both teams at full strength on the bank track. O'Connell by Robinson. Mallory takes a shot at Robinson. Robinson sidesteps him and belts him with a block. O'Connell belts Robinson, and there's Chris Rowe moving in there, and he is by Robinson. Oh, came up so fast that Robinson just wasn't ready for him. But Robinson grabs him in the air and flips him over the rail. A penalty on Robinson. It wasn't Chris Rowe's fault. The youngster came up there, and Robinson, in his battle with Mallory and O'Connell, was out of position on the play. Smith getting it from O'Connell now. And O'Connell drives him into the track. Smith is still trying to score. Roman out of the jam is still underway. The lead jammer is put over the rail. Roman gets up there. He's belted by Robinson with the helmet. O'Connell wants to square off with Scopus in the infield. And watch it out here. The official is explaining to the public address announcer, the scorekeeper, just what they're going to do on this last play.
As we mentioned, Buddy Atkinson Sr. will be taking over this coach of this team, the Pioneers, and of course he'll be on hand for that big Pioneer Thunderbird series that drew 50,000 last year to White Sox Park in Chicago, and many crowds in excess of 10 or 15,000. That series opens Sunday, September 23rd, Milwaukee, Wisconsin Arena. Wednesday, September 26th, Calumet High School in Gary. Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, September 27, 28, and 30 at the Amphitheater in Chicago. And Saturday night, September 29th, the Arena in St. Louis. That's the home of the Blues. Be sure and see the Pioneers and the Los Angeles Thunderbirds.
I thought New Orleans was the home of the Blues.
Well, New Orleans is going to have that new baseball team down there in 2 years.
St. Louis Blues. Here we go. There are 2 points on the last jam. 1 on the pass, 1 on the penalty. The score is the Bombers 11, the Pioneers 13. And O'Connell's getting it. Bill Hill and Hine. Up on top comes Nick Scopus. Scopus breaks away and gets the point before Roman can get up there. Also in there, Kurt Lowe helping that time. 3 men on O'Connell, and they're still belting O'Connell. Not looking for somebody, but he turns around, Robinson gets him. Robinson working him over. Pete Boyd gets in there, and Robinson gets out of there. They never stopped working on O'Connell. He's sagging on the rail. Bill Hill, Kurt Lowe, and Boyd gets it from Robinson. We got Bombers on the deck and Pioneers on their skates. They picked up 1 point in the play. Scopus got a couple licks in on O'Connell that time before Roman could get up there. Then he slipped around O'Connell, scored a point, and cut off the jam before Roman could do any damage. Score now 14-11. The Pioneers lead the Bombers with 47 seconds to go in this period. Might get another jam underway. Bob Hine to the knee into O'Connell and an elbow. Bob Hine working him over now. Roman trying to help him. Help O'Connell out. Pete Boyd wants at him. The officials cut Pete Boyd off. And Robinson goes after Pete Boyd, who's been held by a referee and decks him. Hardly the sporting thing to do. $10 fine on Robinson. Boyd was being held by a referee, and Robinson went up and decked him. Things get rough. 8 seconds to go in this period. O'Connell being helped up by Roman and Jim Cook and the trainer. That is the end of the second period of play with the score. The Bay Area Bombers 11 and the Pioneers 14. Moving now into the third period of play in this game between the Pioneers and the Bombers, coming your way from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in the city of San Francisco. Walt Harris and Jerry Seltzer calling the action. We have 5 Bombers on the track. We have 3 Pioneers. Penalties drawn by Bob Hine, Ronnie Robinson. At the end of that last period, carry over to this period. The Bombers have caught the fact with the great Joni Weston, who's a real equalizer, is out there doing the job for the Pioneers. Althea Gandy, Debbie Cho trying to get by Joni Weston. She just keeps bouncing them off the track. Bombers can't get a blocker back there to help out their jammers. Candy Jones, of course, she was making sure of that. Look at Joni Weston do her job out there for the Pioneers. Look at that little fanny block, you'd have to call it. He's just a stone wall on defense. They cannot get by. Down goes Gandy. Debbie Cho is down. The Bombers can't get anybody back there to help their jammers, and the jammers need help against Joni Weston. Time's going to run out on him, too. And it's the Pioneers with a great defensive effort here. Great defensive effort. And they stopped the Bombers cold with 3 skaters out there on the bank track. Joni Weston doing the job on the 2 jammers. Candy Jones, Francine Cochu doing the job on the 3 Bombers in the pack. Fantastic effort by the Pioneers on that play.
Well, what can you say about Joan Weston? Every time you think that Joan is tired or that she can't come up with a big effort, she proves why she's undoubtedly the #1 women's skater in the game today, and she showed it in that play. One time, Walt, where she just jumped and left her skates, it was a lot of agility for a person her size.
She's quite a skater, no question about that. That's why I say, with talent like that, it's hard to understand why the Pioneers aren't the world champions. Maybe the new man, Buddy Atkinson Sr., will bring that out of them.
He will put fire in this team, there's no doubt about it. And as we mentioned, he'll be on at the end of this half to talk to you about it.
On the jam, it's Francine Cochu, and in pursuit is Captain Pulliam. At the rear of the pack, Weston and Candy Jones are working over Dolores Tucker. And here comes Cochu to score the point. Tucker is down, there's the point, the jam cut off. And it's 1 point for the Pioneers. They now lead 15-11 over the Bombers.
This, I think, is the best Pioneer game I've seen in the series, and of course the series ends this week in the Bay Area. Pioneers have a big road trip coming up. But they're really controlling this game. Both the men and women's field are really skating as a unit. As we know, Buddy is here watching, and I'm sure he's given some words of advice.
He's usually free with the words.
I'm surprised he hasn't climbed out the track by now, to be honest with you, Walt.
Here we go again and again. The Pioneers have the lead jammer, Candy Jones. Ortiz loses the balance and goes down. At the rear of the pack, they've got Tucker again. And they put her down, and she's passed by Candy Jones for another point. Cochu, Weston doing the job. And they are, like you said, Jerry, really controlling this game and the pace. 16-11 is the score.
Sometimes it's amazing how a large crowd of this can be quite so quiet. You know, when they scream, we can't hear ourselves, but very partisan, just like the Pioneer fans in Chicago or St. Louis or Hammond or Milwaukee or anywhere else, Memphis, anywhere else, whenever they do anything right. But the fans don't like to see the other team doing well.
No, and with the Pioneers controlling the action, they're kind of quiet right now. They can tell. Both clubs at full strength. Here we go with another jam. 8 minutes to go here in the third period in the first half. Tucker up front. She's grabbed by Candy Jones and Weston. They're working her over again. They've got Tucker at the rear of the pack, and they're battering the gal. Out of the jam, it's Cochu moving with Kathy Pulliam in pursuit, and they're really working Tucker over. Look at him work her. Block at the block. Pulliam moves in for 2. Pulliam caught Cochu just before they caught the blockers. A hip block. Cochu went one way. Pulliam went by on the inside for 2 for the Bombers. Cochu with a little extra effort there is going to draw a 1-minute penalty. For now, 16-13. 2 points by Kathy Pulliam of the Bombers. 16-13 is the score. Tucker having a few words here. There's Debbie Jo picking herself up off the track. Tucker talking to Weston.
I want to mention the fans on the Pioneer Network, after they see the second half of this game, of course, which will follow later on this same station, they will, while the Pioneers on the road and there's no current games, and all summer long and fall, you're just going to see current games of your team in action. The next 3 weeks, you will see the Bombers and the Chiefs series. That should be interesting, and then, of course, the return of the Pioneers. But you'll get to see some other fine teams in the league, and, of course, as I mentioned, these are all current games.
Here we go again. Bombers have 6 skaters out there. Somebody's going to have to get off the track. Ortiz is going to the infield. That gives them the required number of 5. Pioneers have 4 because Shoes in the penalty box. Debbie Jo, Robert and Candy Jones. Candy Jones gets back on the inside as they get out on this jam ball. That's blocking position. Bombers, another block in there. Here come the other jammers. But Candy Jones breaks away now. She's moving by herself. Debbie Jo in pursuit again. Debbie Jo Cho moving on Candy Jones. Gives her knee in the side. Oh, wicked elbow smash. That's all you can describe that block. Debbie Cho upends Candy Jones losing the back, but there's Joni Weston waiting for her. Joni Weston with an elbow block. Candy Jones picks herself up. She's a quarter of a lap back, but she's moving fast. Tucker trying to get back to give Debbie Cho some help, who hits Candy Jones, puts her down again, and Tucker covers Weston. Cho cuts off the jam, and Weston is after Tucker. Nope, time running out, so Weston, being the smart girl that she is, didn't do anything to draw a penalty, but Candy Jones is. She started clobbering Tucker. Weston was smart enough not to do it after the jam had ended. Candy Jones went ahead. She draws the 1 minute penalty for the Pioneers. And the score now off that point, 16-14. The Pioneers still lead the Bombers.
In a moment, well, we'll tell the fans how they can get a free copy of the rules. Earlier, we told them about the mailing list, and I just want to mention all your Pioneer fans. After the Thunderbird Series, which is in late September, the Pioneers will really open their home season in the Midwest against other International Roller Derby League opponents. Right in late October, early November, there'll be a game in your area, so be sure and send in your name so that you can receive the Pioneer newsletter, and you'll get all the information on those upcoming games.
Here we go again. Out of the jam is Kathy Pulliam, number 31. And out after her, looking for revenge, is Francine Cochou out of the penalty box. She's working on Pulliam, too. Closes it down, gets a big lead. He's moving now. He's being chased by Evelyn Pace. Not Evelyn Pace, pardon me. Linda Johnson. Tucker blocking on Cochou. Here comes Pulliam. They've got her double team there, and they're bouncing Cochou around. Tucker sort of holding her up for Pulliam to hit, and then rips her into the rail. Pulliam with the lead in the jam, 31. Joni Weston skating up ahead without a helmet. She lost it. Weston blocking Pulliam. Tucker doing the job on Cochou, puts her down. Now Tucker can move up and give Pulliam some help. Moving now on Joni Weston. Trying to put a squeeze play on her. They pull her around for the point. She cuts off the jam. Weston spinning, goes down. Tucker gives her a knee. Tucker will draw a penalty.
I think we said something about noise when something good happens for the home fans.
Well, Tucker will draw a penalty. The Bombers picked up a point. They're one behind now. The Pioneers 16, the Bombers 15.
That obviously was a violation of the rules, and if you'd like to get a free copy of the rules, put your name, address, city, zip code, and the station on which you watch the game on a postcard and send it to Rules, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604.
We have 2:54 to go here in the third period of play in the first half. 16-15, the Pioneers lead the Bombers. Joni Weston up front with the women, Debbie Shore doing the for the Bombers. That means Dolores Tucker from the penalty box. 5 Pioneers out there and 4 Bombers. Pioneers get the first jammer out. Jason goes Althea Gandy. Jammer, page 56 for the Pioneers. Althea Gandy gets the lead. Weston being worked on by Debbie Cho at the head of the pack. Now Weston sets herself, gets inside. She puts a block on Debbie Cho back on the inside. They're battling out there in front of the pack. There they are. Debbie Cho hits Weston. Hits her again. Hits her again. Weston stays up, goes to the rear of the pack to block. She always knows where she has to be, no matter what kind of a battle she's in. She's back to where she can help her teammates score now, or keep the Bombers from scoring. Blocking out Althea Candy, 37. Joni Weston, 59. Slams her into the rail. Evelyn Pace moving now on Debbie Cho. There they are. Debbie Cho with a block. Another block by Debbie Cho. Again. Althea Candy dumped in over the rail with Debbie Cho, and it's a point for Evelyn Pace. Now she's being blocked out by Tucker. She has settled for the 1 point for the Pioneers. 1 point for the Pioneers. They lead now 17-15 over the Bombers. A minute and a half to go here in the 7th period of play in the first half.
Pioneers skating a very different game, Walt. They've gone into a control game, which for them is quite unusual. Usually they're much more wide open. And I think they feel, Margie Laszlo out with injury in this game, that they can really control the Bomber Jammers, and they've done it.
That they have. Here we go with another one. 55 seconds. They better get moving. It'll be a shorter jam. Of course, at the end of the first half, at the end of the game, a jam will go full 60 when time runs out, but not now. They have 48 seconds in this jam as the jammers break away. Candy Jones. Block on Debbie Cho. Dolores Tucker out to challenge Candy Jones and Francine Cochou. They're teaming up a double block. Tucker cuts the inside. Dolores Tucker doing a fantastic job. Candy Jones wants another shot at her. She drops the rear of the pack to block. Joni Weston takes over. I'll do it. Tucker moving on Joni Weston. 2 points separate these clubs with 18 seconds of jamming time left. Ooh. Weston went down and Tucker could not scramble her. Tucker was also down. Debbie Cho back there. Debbie Cho missed her block on Weston. Or Weston sidestepped her block. It's a block on Tucker. Here comes Debbie Cho again. Hammers Weston. Tucker goes right for one. Time runs out. They'll settle for the one. Weston out here in the floor. I think Debbie Cho got the last look in there. So that is the score at the end of the third period of play in the first half. If they can break up that battle down there, they're going to have a tough time. Weston still flat on her back out here on this end of the track. Candy Jones and Cochou are ripping up the Bombers at the other end. So the score at the end of the third period of play is the Bay Area Bombers 16 and the Pioneers 17. Well, there's exciting skating action coming your way, featuring the Bombers and Pioneers. Kezar Pavilion and Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. It's Walt Harris and Jerry Seltzer calling the action to score. As we start the fourth period of play in the first half, it's the Bombers 16 and the Pioneers 17. Out of the jam, Alan Mallory, 31, moving here for the Bombers. Both clubs at full strength. That's always been the case in this game. Got a good one, though. Ronnie Robinson back there to block. Alan Mallory moving up number 31. Mallory, a former high school track star. Ran the sprints and the hurdles. Ronnie Robinson blocking back there. He is hitting again in there. Mallory using the rail to stay up. Mallory 31. Robinson hits him again. Larry Smith laying back in case he can get a shot in there at Mallory. Chris Rowe moving in the jam with the Bombers. He's half a lap back but coming up fast. O'Connell Dinford pointing something out. Mallory's down. Here's Chris Rowe to challenge him. He almost threw himself through there. Look out. They're throwing him over the rail. How many men do you penalize? How many points do you allow? Nick Scopus. O'Connell is after Scopus in the infield. He comes around the other way. Scopus going to forget about the jam. They forget about the pack. O'Connell is chasing Scopus. He's going to chase him right out of here. Bill Morrissey cuts in front of O'Connell. Grabs the chair. They all three had Chris Rowe, and they threw him over that top rail. A point on the play for the penalty. Who drew the penalty? 17-17 is the score. There's Scopus kicking Rowe as he tries to get up there. Rowe is trying to get up on the track, and Scopus kicked him. Let's see what happens here. Evidently, Scopus is going to draw the penalty. There's still 5 Pioneers out there. They're only entitled to 4. They're going with 5.
I don't think the referees have caught it yet, Walton. As soon as they do, the Pioneers will be down to 3 for having too many players.
Right. Penalty is a point forward on that. Well, they're going with 5. We'll go with 5. Out on the jam, John Rice and Bob Dansell moving. Rice working on Dansell now. Hits him again. Bobbers him with an elbow. Dansell tries to get the inside, and John Rice cuts him off. Rice hitting him again. They're not gaining in the pack the way they're battling. Now Rice gets hit by Dansell, who finally gets inside, but not for long. Rice back on the inside again. Hits him with the elbow, finally puts him down. Now John Rice can move in the pack for the Pioneers. Score tied up 17-all. John Rice moving. Roman hit and goes down. He's passed for the point. Robinson and team blocking in there. Total of 4, I believe. It is 4 big points for the Pioneers. They have 21 and the Bombers have 17 now. 21-17.
Well, I guess the penalty's up, so they can go back to 6 players now.
Incidentally, for the people in the Bay Area, they've got action coming up between these clubs tomorrow night in San Jose at the ballpark. Wednesday down in Salinas at the ballpark. Friday in Sacramento at the Memorial Auditorium. Then Saturday at the Oakland Coliseum Arena. And next Sunday back here at Kezar. That's the action in the immediate Bay Area this coming week.
Of course, the big news, Walt, as we've said, in case for those just joining us, the big man on the Pioneers' future is going to be Buddy Atkinson Sr. His name, he's taking over as coach. He's going to join him next Saturday for that big game at the Oakland Coliseum Arena. You're going to be talking to him at halftime.
Chris Rowe, the jammer, whipped out Pete Boyd, and off the momentum, he goes clear to the infield and goes down where he's kicked by John Rice. Rowe whipping out the big man that couldn't maintain his balance. Pete Boyd is out, a moving wall. Nick Scopus and Larry Smith moving on him. Oh, Boyd came down on anybody. He's going to be hurt. They tried to take him out low and they were doing it, but he sort of bounced on both of them when he went down, and Scopus is still down. And Boyd goes by him for a point. Oh, I tell you, when that 235-pounder comes down on you, something's got to give, and that time it was Scopus. Bob Hine blocking on Pete Boyd now. Bombers have one. Robinson back there blocking on Pete Boyd. Ronnie Robinson. Robinson 58. Hine goes back there. Drake Boyd on the rail, but he bounces the ball. He makes it on. Boyd recovers and goes by for two more. He has three. He has three, and they give him two. I guess that's on partial. Of course, there is a rule interpretation. You cannot pass an injured skater for a point.
I think that's it. Right after he went by, while referee Bill Morrissey did give a signal that Scopus was out injured and therefore couldn't be passed for a point.
But he is supposed to be replaced, and in the first period, Tucker was out injured on the infield. The skater is replacing her, and they allowed a pass for a point there. So the officials just have to be consistent, Jerry.
Well, I guess they're being consistently inconsistent.
That makes it 21-19. The Pioneers still lead, and Tony Roman is out on the jam, and Bob Hine in pursuit for the Pioneers. Robinson at the head of the pack battling with Charlie O'Connell. There are the jammers. Roman puts Hine down. Hine bounces up again. Robinson and O'Connell at the head of the pack are still battling it out. Robinson and O'Connell. There they are. Look at the action in there. Both men able to get away from the other's blocks. Fantastic skating. O'Connell connected that time, and Robinson went down. Bob Hine moving. Roman has caught the pack, and he's going to score. And he cuts it off. One he gets for the Bombers. 21-20. Boy, we had fast action on that jam. 5:58 to go in the first half.
Well, trainer Jerry Munez has just sprayed something on Nick Scopus' arm. Nick is coming back in the lineup, so it wasn't too serious. I'm sure he's going to be able to skate. Full house here at Kezar. Tremendous crowd here today. By far the largest of the season. Bombers have great fan support here.
So here we go. 5.5 minutes to go here in the first half of play. Remember, we're going to talk to Buddy Atkinson Sr. at the end of the half. In the Bay Area, San Jose Ballpark tomorrow night. Wednesday, Salinas Ballpark. Friday, Sacramento. Saturday in Oakland. Nick Scopus on the jam. Alvin Mallory moving behind him for the Bombers. Scopus not trying to outspeed him. I mean, outspeed him. He'll try to outspeed him, but that didn't work as he hits the deck. Back in the pack is Nick Scopus. On the jam all by himself is Alvin Mallory, 31, moving here for the Bombers. Nick Scopus is back there to block now, number 54. Remember, he has a jammer's helmet on, but he is not in scoring position. Here comes Alvin Mallory, high on the rail. Hit by Scopus. Here comes O'Connell. Scopus gets away from O'Connell. Look out. Scopus evading O'Connell and block. Hey, a right hand is no legal block. That's a point and a penalty, and O'Connell is at it. O'Connell is at it. Officials cutting him off. Scopus falls in front of the Bomber bench, gets up, moves away. The right hand by Scopus. Scopus moving on O'Connell now. Look out, O'Connell turned around. Scopus wants out of there. He's got him. Hang on to him. Officials pull O'Connell away before he can do any damage.
Well, of course, these two will have that big match race next Saturday at Oakland Coliseum Arena. And you know, well, for the fans watching in Chicago, they want to know how recent are these telecasts. You're seeing these telecasts the same weeks they're being skated. And that means if you're in, want to come out to Oakland next Saturday, this Saturday actually, you'll see that match race, and you'll also see Buddy Atkinson Sr. take over as coach of the team.
So here we go again, 3:48 to go. O'Connell to the penalty. No, O'Connell should be on the track. He never connected. He can't.
Yeah, I guess they don't give a penalty for swinging.
He tried. He just couldn't get it in there. but Nick Skopas is in the penalty box. 5-4, the situation on the track, the score tied up now, 21-21. Bob Dansell breaks away, and John Rice in pursuit for the Pioneers. They keep an eye on the pack. We got action everywhere. Robinson telling Bob Hines. Dansell hammering John Rice to the deck and moves away on the jam. Bob Hine now breaks away, but he's over half a lap back. Ronnie Robinson back to the block. He puts a block on Dansell, and Hine is burning up the track. Hine is burning up the track. He is up there. Boy, did he move on that play. He's got John Rice to help him. They want Robinson to eliminate Dansell first. But Rice goes back to block on Dansell. Robinson goes up to help Bob Hine. They're moving on O'Connell. There's the point. And did he stay on the track? He did. He gets 4.
What skating by Bob Hine.
And O'Connell is hit from behind by Skopas, and Skopas working him over. Roman gets in there. Skopas wants out of there. Boy, Skopas did his damage and got out of there. Bob Hine did a fantastic job of scoring those points. He got around in a hurry and past that bundle of skaters, pile of skaters. He stayed on one skate on the edge of the track. If he'd hit the infield with the other track, the points would not have been allowed. Bob Hine showing you why he's a fantastic skater. Score now 25 for the Pioneers and 21 for the Bombers. 2:08 to go here in the first half of play. Don't forget that last half. Larry Smith is out on the jam. Alvin Mallory, 31, in pursuit. At the rear of the pack, O'Connell being worked on by Skopas and Robinson and Bill Hill. All 3 men battling O'Connell. But Alvin Mallory knocks down Smith. He's moving behind O'Connell, who's hitting hard. Here comes Mallory. Mallory has 3 points, and O'Connell is still hitting him out there. Out on the floor goes Hill. Robinson is down. O'Connell blasting. 3 men couldn't hold O'Connell that time. Bob Hine yelling at him from the infield. O'Connell is skating along.
4,000 fans here at Kezar, all on their feet. Tremendous crowd, all standing here, Walt.
They had right to be standing that time. O'Connell blasting 3 men. Mallory, who eliminated 1 man. There you can see the huge crowd here at Kezar in San Francisco. 3 Bomber points. They have 24 on the scoreboard now, and the Pioneers have 25. 50 seconds to go in the first half. Remember, this jam gets underway before that game time runs out. It will go the full 60 seconds. Unless it's cut off with the lead jammer. Here we go. Both clubs at full strength. Tony Roman comes busting out of the pack. Whipped out by Gil Orozco. Now it's John Rice out for the Pioneers. 25 seconds left in the half of this jam. Go the full 60. Rice is really moving out there on the bank track. Tony Roman looking back at him. Robinson back to the block of the Pioneers. Robinson hits Roman. O'Connell hit by somebody in the pack. Bob Hine goes down, going backwards, and he takes out Roman as the Pioneers scoring here in bundles. 3, I believe, or 2. 2 Pioneer points. O'Connell was belted by Bob Hine. He went down, going backwards, off balance. He took down Tony Roman. Roscoe up there caught between Hine and Robinson at the other end of the track. The Pioneers pick up 2. So at the end of the first half here, the score is the Bay Area Bombers 24 and the Pioneers 27. I have with me Buddy Atkinson, Sr., who's been in and around and over and through, and I think everything that can happen in a roller derby game or with a skater for many, many years. He's produced many great champions on the bank track. He's produced many championship teams. He's been out of work for a while, except for running the training club. He's wanted to get back into action. I know he wanted to run the Bombers. That didn't come off. But he has lined himself up another position, which I think you're really looking forward to, as any good manager would, with the talent you've got to work with. You are going to take over starting this coming Saturday night at the Oakland Coliseum Arena as the head man of the Pioneers. Buddy?
Well, this is going to be a great challenge to me, because I'll tell you, this team is a championship team. It's really got the championship players on it. The only thing is they need some leadership and an iron fist to handle them, to make them skate the kind of game they're supposed to skate. Now, I took over the Chiefs when Charlie had them, and it was a very namby-pamby team. What a lot of talent. I had to change this all the way around, Now this is a challenge to me. My idea anymore is to make championship teams and keep them going that way. I know the Chiefs will be tough competition to this team, but with the way I'm going to conduct this team and bring out all this fine talent here in this series with the Bombers and also with the Thunderbirds in Chicago, we're going to have a heck of a team going, and we're going to give them all the push and power that they need.
Well, you managed the Chiefs to a world championship, but that was not your first world's title.
No, I've had quite a few world's titles, not only the Chiefs. And years ago, I had Philadelphia Panthers. They were champions. I had the Jersey Jolters. They were champions. So my idea of building a championship team is to make them aggressive, make them work together as a team. This is where the Pioneers are lacking. Last year they were lacking on teamwork, working together. They're all like individuals. Now I'm going to bring these stars together and make them one, a whole team together.
You have never settled for second best, right?
That is out of the question. This way I might knock some heads off. I might get rid of some people. I might bench people. But they're going to do the job the way I want it done, because I know roller derby. It's my life. I've lived it. I've been with it 35 years, and I know what I'm doing with this team. And I've got the talent. Now, I can go down the line with Ronnie Robinson, Bob Hine. You got Nick Scopus. Right on Bill Hill, a youngster that can come along. Then I got Joni. She's a great veteran. I've had Joni before. We've had differences, but I've straightened her out. I think we can get her rolling again and get her girls' teams rolling. And we're looking for a second skater next to Joni. I think we might pick one up. We'll know in the future, and we'll let the fans know.
Buddy, let me ask you something of concern to the fans here in the Bay Area, and I know the Pioneer Network will be interested in it. Is the fact that coming up this week at the Oakland Coliseum Arena on Saturday night, Nick Scopus is going to meet Charlie O'Connell in a match race. Anything goes, no time limit, the infield cleared. A race like this actually is a danger to both men, is it not?
Right. Any match race that's all out this way here, clear the infield, it's got to be dangerous, because you can step right up in the line and get a knee in the wrong place and you're finished, because a guy can break your shoulder, he can break your arm, he can do a lot of things out there because he's free to do that. It's an all-out match race. Now, Nick is very agile. Charlie is, you notice Charlie don't skate full periods anymore, and I think he's kind of wearing down. And I think Nick is really building up. He's coming into his own. Nick is still a youngster compared to Charlie. So I think Nick is going to give him a real bad time.
Well, Buddy, thanks a lot, and good luck with the Pioneers.
All right, thank you, Walt.
Buddy Atkinson, your new head man of the Pioneers. Score here at halftime in San Francisco, 24-27, the Bombers leading the Pioneers.